Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am very excited because we're going to be doing a Dollar Tree date night dinner. So I have an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert, and I only paid $15 for the entire dinner. As normal, when it comes to these types of videos, I am somewhat experimenting, so if it seems experimental in nature, it's because it is. I'm trying out some different combinations and seeing if they're good to give you guys ideas on the best way you can utilize your Dollar Tree inventory. Even if your inventory isn't the same as mine, feel free to substitute any of the items with what you have available. So let me go ahead and show you everything that I got and we can get started. So here is my Dollar Tree date night haul. I got some stuff to make fried pickles. So I have a box of Southern fry mix, some pickle slices, and some ranch dressing. I'm also going to be making a creamy gnocchi skillet. So I have some gnocchi, some sausage, I have some cream cheese, mozzarella cheese, Parmesan cheese, and for an added veggie, some pepper stir fry. And then I'm also going to be making a cherry cobbler. So for that, I have a can of cherry pie filling, some mixed berry muffin mix, and some vanilla ice cream for the topping. And all total cost me $15. The cobbler is going to be the easy part. I'm going to go ahead and get that prepped so I can get it in the oven. I have a bowl here and I'm just going to mix up my muffin mix. Per the package instructions, I am going to be using water in place of milk for the sake of the budget. But if you have milk, feel free to use that instead. I chose wild berry because I thought it would go best with the cherry pie filling particularly. They also had blueberry, chocolate chip, and banana nut. I did something similar around Christmas time for my $20 Christmas dinner. At the time, they did not have cherry pie filling, so I'm pretty sure I just used some frozen fruit, so that is an option as well. But I thought the cherry pie filling would actually be really nice, and I found kind of a similar recipe in an old vintage Betty Crocker cookbook, so that's kind of what I'm going by for my source of inspiration here. So the pie filling is just going to get spread on the bottom of my baking dish. And then I am going to pour my muffin mix right over the top here. I'm going to bake this at 400 degrees for probably about 20 to 25 minutes or so. And then I'm just going to let it cool until dinner is ready. In the meantime, we can go ahead and get started on our appetizer, which is either, depending on your preference, fried pickles. I'm going to experiment a little bit with this and I might make some pickle fritters. So again, I just have the pickles and the fry mix. The ranch is just for dipping. So I'm going to start by draining my pickles. And in this case, I am going to save the juice just in case I end up using that. But if I don't, then it's always a great thing to keep on hand. I like to marinate chicken in pickle juice, similar to the way like big restaurants do it to tenderize chicken. So pickle juice is always a really good idea to have on hand as like a meat tenderizer. I kind of tested some pickle fritters a little bit ago and it worked decently. It was pretty good, but I just used flour and some Cajun seasoning. This has milk and eggs and stuff in it, so it should work a little bit better as a binder for making a fritter. This is actually a really fun way that I think you could also make things like corn fritters if you had some fry mix like this. It's also pre-seasoned, which can save you a little bit of money and time. And I'm just going to give those a fine chop. I've already made fried pickles when I did the Super Bowl party foods. So that is an option if you want to do it that way, but I think that this will work out a little bit better and I don't have to deep fry them, I can just pan fry them. Now here's the thing about watching my full-length videos is that, as I mentioned, these videos are kind of experimental in nature, so you get a little bit more of the thought process versus short format videos where I just kind of recap what ended up happening. So if these pickle fritters don't really work out, that's on me. I'm just giving this a try basically. And I'm just adding enough of the dry mix so that I get a little bit of a batter. Probably about half the bag total of the dry mix, which means I can save the other half for a future video, like I said, maybe corn fritters or something like that. Alright, I feel like that looks pretty good, so let's head on over to the skillet so we can fry these up. So I've got a skillet here with some cooking oil preheated, and the reason the oil is a little dark in color is because I fried up some chicken patties last night, so I usually reuse my oil whenever possible. I just run it through a strainer and then store it. So I'm going to start by frying some of my fritters. because I don't have a backup plan if this doesn't work the way I want it to. I'd say this first batch is pretty much done at this point, so I'm going to set it aside to drain on some towels. I'm going to get started on a second batch, which I think I'm probably going to get another maybe 2 to 3 out of this rest of this fritter batter. I'm jealous of how crispy the second batch got, so I am going to double fry each of these just to make sure we get an ultra crispy pickle fritter. So as far as plating up our delicious little pickle fritters here, I'm going to set them on a plate in like a semicircle. And our ranch dressing is just going to go in a little cup in the center here for dipping. And there we have it, pickle fritters. Let's see how crispy. I'm gonna grab one of the double fried ones. And, oh yeah. You hear that? That is gonna be good. Should we give it a try? I think so. All right, here is my pickle fritters. I didn't really find any versions of this online, so I don't think many people make something like this. So, not trying to say it's an original concept or anything, but I think it's a really unique idea. Let's give it a try. That crunch is the real winner. Double fry for a good crispy texture on them. These are truly amazing. A fried pickle with like a quarter of the work, because you don't have to sit there and fry individual pickles in small batches. There isn't really any prep work that I need to do regarding the main dish, so we can just go ahead and head on over to the skillet to prepare it. In order to make this gnocchi skillet, it's going to require a little bit of multitasking because the gnocchi only need like 3 to 5 minutes to cook. So I'm going ahead and bringing some water up to a boil. That way it's on standby. And we're going to start by browning our sausage and our vegetables, kind of make our sauce, and then we can toss in our gnocchi, top it with cheese, and stick it under the broiler. So pot of boiling water on standby. I am going to start by browning up my sausage here. I'm happy with how brown my sausage is, so I'm going to go ahead and move this off to the side. And I'm going to toss in some of my pepper and onion stir fry, maybe just a handful or two. Mine's pretty much thawed at this point. And now to finish off our sauce, I'm going to be adding in my cream cheese. I'm going to start with half the block, and if I need to add more, I can. You can also use a can of Alfredo sauce. This is a way that I make a sort of homemade version of Alfredo sauce from Dollar Tree because I'm not a big fan of canned Alfredo sauces. But definitely use the can if you've got it. I am also going to add in about a half a cup of that hot water that I set aside to help further melt the cream cheese. And again, make this more of a sauce. And I do think ultimately I am going to add some more cream cheese. Again, you can always add more, but you can't take away, so add a little bit at a time. Taste it as you go if you need to. I am going to be adding in some Parmesan cheese to make this, again, like a mock Alfredo sauce. For the Alfredo sauce, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start by adding about half the jar. You can also add more water if you feel like it's getting a little too thick. That is actually superb. I just tried it. It's really great. I might add some salt and pepper to it, or actually just some pepper, but the flavor of the sauce is fantastic. So I am gonna go ahead and turn off my burner. I'm gonna move off my skillet. Once our water is just about boiling, I'm gonna start dropping in my gnocchi. I haven't really figured out a nice way to do this so that I don't end up like splashing myself with boiling water. So if you have any tips, let me know. The gnocchi does not take long to cook at all. And as soon as they start to rise to the top, they are pretty much done. And you don't want to overcook them because they can get a little gummy. Just trying to make sure that they're all nicely separated. So yeah, as you can see, they're starting to float up to the top here. And pretty much as soon as that happens, I'm just going to start transferring them right over to my skillet here. I'm going to turn off my heat. So again, I don't overcook them. I'm gonna mix all of my gnocchi in with my sauce here very gently. Let me switch over to my other spatula. Kind of just folding it into the sauce. Look how creamy that is. Looks amazing. I'm so excited about this. This might be one of my best Dollar Tree dishes that I've made to date, honestly. And then to make this present super nicely, I am gonna cover the top of this in my shredded mozzarella cheese, and I am gonna broil it for a few minutes till that cheese gets nice and golden brown and bubbly. I am so proud of this recipe. This is my cheesy, creamy gnocchi sausage skillet. So that looks amazing. It just came out of the broiler. And I also, of course, made that cherry cobbler. So there is the results of that. And so altogether, we have an entire 3-course dinner for just $15. And I feel like this is a really fancy date night spread, even on a budget. And let's go ahead and plate everything up and try it all. Let's start with our gnocchi skillet, which is absolutely so creamy and cheesy. It has been sitting for a minute, so I'm not gonna get that glorious cheese pull on top there. But oh my god, this smells incredible. And of course, I have already tried the fried pickles at this point. I can try another one if you guys want. I have no objections with eating another one, but I do really want to try this gnocchi. I'm so excited. I am very serious when I say that I don't know how to go up from here, because honestly, this is the epitome of Dollar Tree cooking. It is a fancy meal, it is on a budget. You've got the sausage and the peppers and like a creamy cheese sauce and these plump, delicious little gnocchi. I mean, potato, sausage, and peppers just go together anyways, but this is a way to take potato, sausage, and peppers and turn them into something fancy. Absolutely divine, and I'm not just saying that because I cooked it. Next up, of course, we have the cherry cobbler, which I feel like deserves a white bowl to kind of match the little aesthetic that we've got going on here. And this has been chilling for a little while, so at this point it is pretty fully chilled, or not chilled, cooling. It's cooled completely. So if you want it like nice and warm, you could definitely throw it in right as you go to cook the gnocchi. That way it is fully cooked and cooled by the time your dinner is ready. My ice cream is actually really nice and soft, because when I buy it from the store it's pretty soft, and I did just buy it today, so it hasn't had time to get really hard in my freezer yet. And it is time to dig into this. This has been better than I could have ever expected it to be. And sometimes, like, I get requests for things like doing a date night, but if I'm not really in, like, the mental headspace of doing it, sometimes, like, I'm really glad that I waited, because then I'm able to put out a better product than I would have if I had done it the moment someone asked me to do it. So let's try our cherry cobbler here. It is a little on the cakey side because of the muffins on top, and Dollar Tree cherry pie filling is a little bit on the tart side, but all of that is sweetened up by the vanilla ice cream, which I feel like is kind of necessity to this dish. Otherwise it might be a little bit too tart. You can also use Cool Whip instead of the ice cream, or any sort of like a sweetened whipped cream or something like that. But overall, I am so pleased with how this dinner turned out, and I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon.